Facebook, good morning. Wednesday, get a little market commentary done now. So we're going to go through and have a look at some of the main indices, commodities, currency pairs. Also have a little look at some of the trades that we've been in. We'll review a couple of the positions and also trades that we're currently in and looking to get in. So we'll get into this straight away. So let me just make sure I've got the right screen in play here. So we're going to start with the S&P. So we're going to go and have a little look at the S&P and see exactly where that is and have a little look at what's been going on. So we've got news about stimulus packages and that looks like it's going to be signed off in the next day or so. But interesting, if we look at the indices as a whole, I'm going to go up to the weekly here. So the S&P, so if we look at the US indices as a whole, the S&P here you can see has had this steady move up on a weekly chart. You can see steady move up, stayed within its 5 high, 5 low moving average bands. Had a little bit of a dip that you can see in the last week. I'll go back to the daily here. So what we've done really is it's nothing yet that is any difference to what we've seen going on here. Look, we've had a run up, move down, retested a daily 50, new high, come down, retested a daily 50. Now, the slight difference here is the move down has taken a little bit longer. But for me, with the S&P, if we look at the Dow in comparison, so we'll go and have a little look at the Dow if I can find that. So you can see the Dow actually at the moment is sitting around a double top mark, slight higher high over the last couple of days. So the Dow is leading the S&P. The Dow is actually up at its highs. The S&P, as you can see here, has not retested those highs, but as yet we haven't really done anything out of the ordinary. The market that's moved a little bit lower, had a little bit more of a move down. You'll see here is the Nasdaq. So the Nasdaq has come down, but all that's happened, if you go up to the weekly chart to put it into context, is all that's happened is really not that different compared to what we saw back here in November. Is we made new highs and we've come back and we've come down to the weekly 21 moving average and retested the previous highs that you can see here. So at the moment, I've had articles turn up in my inbox. I've had people talking about, a big sell-off. Will this be the big sell-off? Well, at the moment, for me, from a technical point of view, all I'm doing is paying very close attention to these weekly charts. So at the moment, all the Nasdaq has done has really had a little sell-off in very close relationship to what it's done previously. If we actually go back to 2020, at the start of 2020, when we had COVID, that was obviously a bigger sell-off. But at the moment, you can see not a lot. So for me, I'm going to be watching very carefully this weekly chart and looking to see whether or not the price does something different to what it did here and what it did here. And for me, that will be a weekly close below that 21 moving average and below those previous highs. So if this candle creates that close, goes a little bit lower, closes below the 21, then I'll be looking towards the weekly 50 as the next port of call, which is in line with these lows here, or close to these lows. So at the moment, for me, yes, there has been a sell-off, and there's been talk about, will this sell-off continue? What will happen when the stimulus package comes out? None of that for me matters. What matters for me is the price action that I can see short-term on this weekly chart. So keeping a close eye. It's Wednesday today. We'll see where we are with this weekly candle come the end of the week. But yeah, as you can see, the main thing here is the Dow is out of the 3 indexes. It's leading ever so slightly. You can see the Dow is back up, retesting its highs. And I'll go back down to the daily just to show you that again. So the Dow is up at its highs, whereas the S&P is lagging the Dow. And as you can see, if I pull the Nasdaq up, the Nasdaq is the one that's had the bigger sell-off here. So for me, all about those weekly charts. Next up, we're going to have a little look at the DAX, because the DAX had a breakout. Now, I'm not a breakout trader, but some of our swing breakout traders have had a break on the DAX on a break of Wednesday the 3rd's high. You can see it there. So at the moment, the DAX is in all-time highs, clean air from where we are. We've had this sideways move for a while now where we retested the highs, came back, retested them again, 2 higher lows during that process. So classic breakout pattern over a slightly longer period of time. You can see it there. And some of our swing guys are long off the back of that. But most of them with predetermined targets. So you can see that price has broken higher. I'm not in that one because I don't trade breakout setups. So you can see there, we've gone higher on the DAX. Where will that go? Well, it depends, because if you look at where we are, there's clean air from where we are now. Excuse me. So we've got clean air going forward. So it may be here on the futures that we want to get up in and around that round number of 15,000. But if I go up the time frames, you'll see here on the weekly chart, we've got clean air. And if I go all the way up to the monthly, you can see nothing in the way at the moment. So there's no reason why at this point, from a technical point of view, the DAX couldn't continue further. Right, let's go and have a look at oil, because oil's been a busy one for us. We've had our monthly oil trade, and I'm just going to go down to the weekly chart so you can see the context here. So we had our monthly oil trade where we had a loser short and then a winner long. So some of the guys have ended up with a 2% month on oil. Because I was running a trailing stop for me on that particular setup, because I'm running a trailing stop option, I've ended up break even for the month. But I'm actually also currently short on oil as a result of us coming into this resistance area. Now that, on the face of it, might sound a bit strange. Well, why have you've gone long and then you've gone short on one strategy and now you're short again? That's because the different strategies have different context. All right. So it's really important to understand that, and really important to bear that in mind, because what you're going to get is you're going to get times, if you're trading multiple strategies in multiple contexts, where you'll be doing different things. And one of the questions I got in the trading room is, are you going to be long on oil on one strategy and also short on another strategy? And I'm like, yeah. And then somebody said, are you hedging? I said, no, I am simply following the criteria of the different strategies as they're setting up. So what you'll see here, if we just go up to the weekly chart, is we've been eyeing up a short on oil for a while now, based on oil coming up and retesting. You can see the highs here from 2019 and the highs there just as we came into 2020. So oil's had a very good run up. It's come into that level. If you go down to the weekly, there is the daily, there is a little bit of divergence coming in here, but we actually got the setup on this yesterday. So oil's come in. At the moment, it's sitting about a 1-for-1 for me on this reversal trade. What I'll be looking for is price to get down to 2-to-1, and then I can move my stop lower, and then I can consider running the trade down towards this area here on the trend line. Now, what's really important here is this is something that we have discussed, and in our trading room, we already have a pre-plan on this. However, and this is something we were discussing this week, one of the things that we've got going on here is we've also got these lows just down here, which line up with our 3-to-1 target, but we've also got this trend line. So there will be potentially some management of that as we go forward. Good. So that is oil. Let's go and have a little look at other commodities. So let's go and have a little look at silver, see where silver is in the process. So silver, I'm going to go back up to the weekly chart to give us a bigger perspective. Silver has been sitting in this sideways move now for a little while. We had the highs up here around the $30 mark, retested those, and as yet price really hasn't done a lot here on silver. Might be that it goes higher and breaks. For me, I'd be more bullish on silver if we could get a significant break of these highs. That's what I would be looking for on that. Let's go and have a little look at euro US dollar. So we'll move away from the commodities. Let's go and have a little look at euro. Now, a lot of our guys had a nice short trade here on euro, just from a little bit further back in this little area here. So price came down, broke the trend line, gave us a lower high, and then there was a short trade there. For me, that's over and done with now. With regards to what euro could do, if I look at the weekly chart, for me, because we've broken this trend line and we've come down, I'm in a bit of a neutral zone here. If I was to be bullish on euro, we'd need to be above these highs. But the challenge there is we've got these highs from back here in 2018. So what's really important to bear in mind here is that just because we get above these highs, I'm not automatically going to be bullish on this. I would actually be looking for a reversal trade if we got up and into this area here. So for me, the key thing on euro is if we break these highs, then I'm not going to consider being bullish until we got above these highs. If we got above these highs and got into this zone up here, then I would be more bullish. up at those highs, I would actually be looking for reversals, because the last time we're up here, 2017, that's where we came into that resistance. So for me, with euro, I'm looking for price to come up. Yes, we've had a short trade in this small move here, but I'm looking for it to come back up. If it gets into this zone here, then I'd be looking for more shorts on that one. Let's go and have a little look at pound US dollar. Where are we? Pound US dollar. Similar thing with pound US dollar. We've been in this nice run up, and you can see we've got these prior highs here in 2018. So for me, same thing really with pound US dollar as I'm looking at with euro. I'm looking for it to get back up into that resistance zone, and then I would be looking for shorts. A lot of our guys have had a nice run up here. They've had some breakout trades, some momentum pullback trades, but as a reversal trader, I'm looking for price to get up into that resistance. So we need to get into that zone there. And then let's go and have a little look at US dollar Swiss franc. So for this one, had a lovely trade on this one. We had one of our trend line break setups here. I've talked about this on previous commentaries. For me, I was out at the daily 200 that you can see here, very close to the weekly 50. You can see it's actually run on here. So bearing in mind where we are now, there could be pullback opportunities and further upside. We are above the weekly 50 here. So you can see that we've had a strong close above the weekly 50. It may be that if we pull back and stay above that zone, then I'd be looking up towards this longer term trend line that you can see in there. So that is about it for this week. We will be back before next week because we've got Finance Friday this week. So keep an eye out for that. I'm going to be doing a specific training on Finance Friday. So looking forward to that one. So yeah, that's it for the main indices and the major currencies. I will be back in touch with you again soon.